Hello, I'm Dr. Alina Olteanu. I'm a pediatrician and I'm the founder and owner of Whole Child Texas, a pediatric clinic in Frisco. I am here with my colleague, Dr. Sandy Gluckman, to talk to you about anxiety in children. I am seeing more and more children with anxiety. There's an epidemic of childhood anxiety that it's only getting worse in these uncertain times. As a pediatrician, I can treat their physical and mental health. I usually do that by lifestyle changes, changing their diet, and adding supplements, suggesting stress management techniques like yoga or meditation. I sometimes even do prescription medication if necessary. But why I'm here today with Dr. Sandy Gluckman is to make you aware that there's a piece of the puzzle that if not addressed, the child is not getting better. And this big piece of the puzzle is the parent-child relationship. So Dr. Sandy is going to tell us more about it and why it's so important to address the parent-child relationship to improve the health of a child with anxiety.
I'd love to do that. It's my favorite topic. You know that.
Yes.
Yes, I'm Dr. Sandy and I'm a learning behavior and mood specialist. And to take Dr. Alina's point, there is another piece to anxiety, and that is the parent-child relationship piece. But it's a pretty complex piece. So let me try and dig in a little deeper and show you what's involved here. So when we're talking about anxiety in children, I think there's a misconception that the anxiety is the problem. The anxiety is maybe a disorder or it's a sickness, or I don't know how people think about that. But actually that's not true. The anxiety is not the problem. The problem is what's underneath the anxiety. What actually triggered this thing that we call anxiety?
So anxiety is more of a symptom than a disease. So when
Exactly.
there's a symptom, we have to dig a little bit deeper to find out what causes it.
Yes, we need to, if we want to heal anxiety, we need to get to the underlying root cause. And I think there's a lot of treatment which focuses on putting a band-aid on the symptom, and it works for a little while, but the underlying root cause has not been identified and fixed, removed, so the anxiety will tend to come back. So what is underneath the anxiety? Well, it really does begin with the parent-child relationship. And I want to say up front here, Dr. Lina, that I am not judging parents.
Yes.
I've been a parent and I know how hard it is.
Yes.
I just need to say it like it is, and that is that parent-child relationship can be the original trigger for this symptom called anxiety. And the way in which that happens is when parents completely, unintentionally, and unconsciously, in their attempt to make their children the very best version of themselves, to be successful, to get good grades, to be popular, to be emotionally resilient, in their attempt to make all of that happen, they sometimes communicate with a child in ways that sends the child the message, who I am is not enough.
Yes.
It's just not good enough, because I'm getting the message from mom and dad that I'm getting it wrong and I'm not enough.
And the parents have the best intention in the world, and they parent with the most love possible. And what I've noticed is that a lot of times parents struggle with their own anxiety and their own sense of I'm not good enough. And they're carrying that feeling generational.
Absolutely, because if you ask the parents, they will often they just tell me spontaneously, Dr. Sandy, I'm anxious too. And then they'll say, well, but my mom has always been anxious her whole life, and my grandfather is a very anxious person. And so it seems like this behavior, this symptom of anxiety is transferred generationally. And I always tell my wonderful moms and dads who visit with me is, here is the most incredible opportunity for you to stop this generational pattern. Because if we're passing it down generationally and now you're passing it on to your child is obviously going to grow up and fall in love and get married and have children, but there will always be this underlying feeling of anxiety, which is not fun. And the grandchildren will now become the next version of anxiety.
So this may sound scary, and I know that most people don't want to do therapy, or they don't want to do long-term therapy. And what I like about your approach is that it's so practical, and it gives parents so many tools that they can apply immediately, and they see results very quickly. So do you want to share with me and the parents out there some of your tips and tools that you share with your parents?
I'd love to. So to begin with, I want to say that parents come with the initial intention of, here's my child, he is 8, he is 12, he is 18, feeling a lot of anxiety. What can you do for the child? And I don't see the logic in working with the child until I have worked with the parents.
Yes.
Because again, as I said, unintentionally, if I work with a child and I do my magic with a child and the child gets back in the car and goes home to the environment where there is anxiety and anxious energy hanging around, it will undo what I do with a child. So I'm all about empowering parents with some very important information, which they probably don't get from other doctors. And also empowering them with the tools of how do I parent a child who is anxious, because there is a different way of parenting children who suffer and grapple with anxiety.
Yes. And from what I know about your approach is that you're helping parents go through their own transformations as mom and dad, and then change their relationship with the child. And then we magically see the children getting better.
Absolutely true. So yes, I do always begin with the parents first. And sometimes that means that there is a relationship issue between mom and dad. And children are incredibly perceptive and sensitive and in tune, and they know what's going on, and they're picking up on that stress.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes it's not. There may be a wonderful relationship between mom and dad, but there's something going on inside of mom from her history that we need to work through. And the same goes for possibility of the situation of unfinished business inside of dad being something we need to deal with. And I must say that one of the most important things when it comes to children who have anxiety is that, first of all, they're all very, very sensitive children. They have a sensitive temperament, a sensitive nature. So they're absorbing a lot of things much more than children who are not that sensitive by nature. And so it's really important for moms and dads to understand that, and this may sound crazy, but it's not. It's so absolutely proven in neuroscience that the thoughts that they are having about their children, the beliefs that they have, the feelings that they have about the child's anxiety is actually transferred to the child.
Yes.
So when the parent is worried that the child is so anxious and what am I going to do to take this anxiety away? I so desperately want to help my child, but I don't know what to do. This is all being transferred to the child.
Yes. So I know that you developed a wonderful online program for parents with children who have anxiety. So do you want to share with us maybe 2-3 tools that you teach parents?
Sure. So you mentioned the term healing from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that's really what my program is all about, because there is too much of an attempt to heal the anxiety from the outside in, mostly by talking about it and telling the children they don't have to be worried, everything's going to be fine, but that doesn't work. And the other outside in approach is often medication, which is fine for a short period of time, but it's not going to be sustainable in the long term because we're not dealing with the underlying root cause. So my program, which is on our website, it consists of 7 videos. And the videos are not long, boring videos. They're about 12 minutes in length, 15 minutes at the most, and they contain the most important pieces of information you need to know about what is going on inside of your child that originally triggered the anxiety. And then once you understand that underlying root cause, the remainder of the videos is the tools to heal the root cause, and that means the anxiety will go away. So let me give you an example of one of the tools. One of the tools is, I'll have to give you a short version because otherwise I could be here forever. But as I said earlier, that the real root of this anxiety is that the child has a low sense of self-worth, is believing I'm not enough, does not have enough self-belief and confidence. And that is enough to create anxiety for anybody. And so the very, very first tool that I always recommend is, how do you get inside and rewire the child's belief of I am not enough? Because actually it lives in a neural pathway.
Yes.
So that child defaults into the neural pathway every time he's worried about, am I going to be able to meet the expectations of the teacher, of mom, of dad, of my friends, and will go straight into this neural pathway of I'm not enough. So we need to teach moms and dads, how do you start a new neural pathway? And in this neural pathway, we start to train the child to understand that I am so enough. Who I am is actually so enough. And so I do give them a tool, several tools for that, because it may sound all very complicated to rewire my child's brain. It is not complicated at all. It's about the kind of conversations that you have with a child that are not always focusing, in fact, not at all, focusing on the anxiety, but focusing on what you know about the innate brilliance and genius and talent of that child. But it's also important that those conversations are had in a very serene, calm, tranquil kind of way that is truly coming from the calm of the parent, a calm place inside of the parent. Because if you're having the conversation in the way that I teach on the video, but inside of you, you are really still anxious, it's not going to work. So essentially, really, I would say that there are 3 very important things that I would like our audience to take away from today.
Yes.
On the parent-child relationship side, it's and this is all also available on my program. It's called Healing Your Child's Anxiety and Fear. The number one thing is for us to understand that the anxiety is a symptom. It's not the root cause. We can't make the symptom go away. We need to deal with the root cause. Second, to understand that the root cause is that my child does not have a very strong sense of self-worth. Believing, I'm just not enough. I don't know if I can meet the expectations. And thirdly, to be able to look at ourselves as a mom or a dad and say, how am I unintentionally and unconsciously sending that message to my child, which I would never want to do, but it seems like I am.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm sure parents who are watching this have learned a lot. And I want to end by emphasizing Dr. Sandy's message again and encouraging parents to feel empowered, that there's a lot of things that they as parents can do to heal a child's anxiety, that a child with anxiety does not need to suffer, does not need to go through life crippled by anxiety, that there's a way that parents can literally rewire their children's brain and help them grow up more resilient. And it's really important for me as a pediatrician, because a resilient child, a child who has a resilient nervous system and self-esteem, actually has a very robust physical health as well.
Yes, the immune system matches the level
Yes.
of self-esteem inside the child.
Yes.
So I did want to say that my website is www.drsandygluckman.com.
And we'll write that as well. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alina. I always love speaking to you.
And until we meet again, stay safe. Bye.
Bye.